Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every day. Don't forget, grab your smartphone and download the Lava Matra app and stay in touch. Guru Maharaj's message is your advantage. The following is a Zoom session in remembrance of His Holiness Srila Tamal Krsna Goswami Maharaj by His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj on October 17th, 2020 in Srila Mayapur, India.
Chalam Pangalang Ayate Garim Yatikatamahan Vande Sri Gurum Dinataram Paramanandamadaram Sri Chaitanya Isram Harihi Om Tat Tat. I'm very glad to be present on this occasion of glorifying His Holiness Tamal Krsna Goswami.
I'm very glad to be present here in the occasion of glorifying His Holiness Tamal Krsna Goswami.
When I first came to the temple in San Francisco, I also saw Tamal Krsna Goswami.
Actually, when I came to the temple in San Francisco, I saw Tamal Krsna Goswami.
And then I went after the Rath Yatra to Montreal to see Prabhupada.
Then I went after the Rath Yatra to Montreal to see Srila Prabhupada.
And then when I was in Calcutta, at that time, Srila Prabhupada established His Holiness Tamal Krsna Goswami as GDC for India.
When I was in Calcutta, for the first time, Srila Prabhupada established Tamal Krsna Goswami as the GBC for India.
So I was the temple president in Calcutta.
So I was the temple president in Calcutta
1970-71.
in 1970-71.
And Tamal Krsna Goswami he was a perfectionist.
Tamal Krsna Goswami, he was a perfectionist.
And I didn't come up to his standard.
I didn't come up to his standard.
So he kept removing me.
So he kept removing me.
And then Prabhupada kept putting me back.
And then Prabhupada kept putting me back.
And one time he appointed another president for the Calcutta temple.
And at one time he appointed another president for the Calcutta temple.
It was very hard to be the Calcutta president.
But it's very hard to be the Calcutta president.
Because we had all Prabhupada disciples.
Because we had all Prabhupada disciples.
Everyone was an individual, very strong personality.
Everyone was individually very strong personality.
When Tamal Krsna Goswami came back, that new president grabbed him by the neck.
When
Said, you made me temple president of this crazy temple!
When Tamal Krsna Goswami came back, the temple president grabbed him by the neck and he said to me, you made me this temple president, this crazy temple.
I had to save Tamal Krsna Goswami.
I have to save Tamal Krsna Goswami.
That time he made me president again.
At that time he made me the temple president again.
But actually, he was a very close friend and he was a hands-on leader.
Actually, he was my very close friend and he was a hands-on leader.
When we would take the steel or cement out to Mayapur,
we would take the steel, cement up to Mayapur.
We would ride sometimes in the trucks of the carrying the goods.
We would ride on the trucks which were carrying the goods.
One time we were riding on a steel truck.
One time we were riding on a steel truck,
and we stopped. The driver stopped, said, "Here's a Punjabi dawa, and you can take some hot milk."
the driver stopped and said, "Here is a Punjabi dhaba, you can take some hot milk."
Oh, we thought, good idea, we took some milk.
So we thought it's a good idea, so we took some milk.
Someone came out and said, they're stealing your steel.
Someone came up and said, "They are stealing your steel.
Throwing it in the ditch.
They are throwing it on the ditch."
They ran out and saw it, sure enough, throwing the steel off the truck.
So we ran out and we saw they were throwing the steel off the truck.
Like that, Tamal Krsna Goswami, he was taking great effort to please Prabhupada.
So like that, Tamal Krsna Goswami, he was taking great efforts to please Srila Prabhupada.
Prabhupada said he wanted land in Mayapur.
Prabhupada said we wanted land in Mayapur.
He went out
He went out
and got some land.
and got some land.
Then, when he had the land transferred,
And we
when he had the land transferred,
and when he had the land transferred
in a Krishnanagar court,
in the Krishnanagar court,
then he wrote the serial number of each 100 rupee note.
then he wrote the serial number of the each 100 rupees note.
Hundreds of notes.
Hundreds of notes.
And then he gave that document to Prabhupada.
And then he gave that document to Prabhupada.
So, like that, he was very dedicated in carrying out Prabhupada's instructions.
So like that, he was very dedicated in carrying out Srila Prabhupada's instructions.
I always would appreciate his association.
I always would appreciate his association.
And then I stayed in India when he went back to the West.
But then I stayed in India, he went back to the West.
And then he had some trouble with the U.S. presidents,
But then he had some trouble with the US presidents,
temple presidents.
temple presidents.
And at that time, he said, well, what do you want me to do?
At that time he said, "What do you want me to do?
Go to China or something?"
To go to China or something?"
Prabhupada said, Krishna has spoken to you.
Prabhupada said, "Krishna had spoken through you.
You must go to China.
You must go to China."
And so that's how our China mission started.
So that's how our Chinese mission started.
Although when we had the designing the Mayapur temple,
So we also had designing the Mayapur temple.
at that time we set up our design office in Raleigh, UK.
At that time we set up our design office at Raleigh, UK.
And Tamal Krsna Goswami, he was attending that office also.
And Tamal Krsna Goswami, he was attending that office also.
And some of his disciples were the architects and designers of that temple.
And some of his disciples were the architects and the designers of the temple.
Somehow I was always having some association with him.
Somehow I was always having some association with him.
In 1978, I became an Indian citizen.
In 1978, I became an Indian citizen.
Then someone sponsored me my first round-the-world ticket.
And someone sponsored me my first round-the-world ticket.
So Tamal Krsna Goswami also invited me to come and see him in Dallas and Houston.
Tamal Krsna Goswami also invited me to come and see him in Dallas and Houston.
Beautiful deities, Kalachandji in Dallas.
Beautiful deities of Kalachandaji in Dallas.
At that time there was a new center in Houston, a big hall.
At that time, there was a new center in Houston with a big hall.
So, Tamal Krsna Goswami, he always thought big.
So Tamal Krsna Goswami, he always thought big.
At that time, they took me out to the farm in
At that time,
Oklahoma.
At that time, he took me out to the farm in Oklahoma.
He had an idea to establish a large farm community in Oklahoma.
He had an idea to have a farm for the large community in Oklahoma.
Like that. Then when he went to Cambridge to study his PhD,
And then he went to the Cambridge to study his PhD.
I got lost on my contact with him.
I got lost my contact with him.
Then when he got his PhD, he was attending the GDC meetings and coming to Mayapur.
And when he started the PhD, he was attending the GBC meetings and coming to Mayapur.
And he was very gentle. He had become very gentle.
And he had become very gentle.
And he was encouraging everyone to spend GD time to chant Hare Krishna together, to study the books of Lord Chaitanya.
And he was encouraging everyone during the GBC meetings to chant Hare Krishna together, to read the books of Lord Chaitanya.
And then someone started to mistreat him.
And someone started to mistreat him.
And he was like a lion. He had been sleeping, but
And he was like a lion, but then like a sleeping one.
then when they were mistreating him,
And then when they were mistreating him,
he kind of flared up.
he kind of feared,
Don't push me.
don't push me.
It's like Prabhupada did that story about the cobra.
Like that Prabhupada told us about the story about the cobra.
That all the people were abusing the cobra because they thought that he was non-violent.
All the people, they abused the cobra, and
Because they thought the cobra was non-violent.
because they thought the cobra was not violent.
So now nobody told them that you can show your
Hoods.
hoods.
Narada Muni told them, you can show your hoods.
Like that, Tamal Krsna Goswami kind of showed his hood.
So like that, Tamal Krsna Goswami kind of showed his hood.
But anyway, he was so much dedicated to serving Prabhupada.
Anyway, he was so much dedicated to serving Srila Prabhupada.
And I could never be at that level.
Anyway, I can never be at that level.
But I'm very fortunate to have had his association.
I'm very fortunate to have his association.
I think all the devotees are very fortunate
I think all the devotees are very fortunate
to have had the association of His Holiness Tamal Krsna Goswami.
to have had the association of His Holiness Tamal Krsna Goswami.
So I don't know what the format is. Can I speak for 12 more minutes, or
I don't know what's the format is. Can I speak for 10 more minutes?
is there question and answers? Or?
Is there any question or answer or something like that?
So I sat in his room. He was the chairman of the MVT, the Mayapur Endowment Trust.
He was the chairman of the MVT Mayapur Vrindavan Trust.
I'm still a trustee of that.
I am still a trustee of that.
He was doing various services for Srila Prabhupada.
He was doing various services to Srila Prabhupada.
And like when Prabhupada was in Vrindavan,
Like when Prabhupada was in Vrindavan,
he would just raise his hand.
he would just raise his hand.
And Tamal Krsna Goswami would immediately understand what he wanted.
And Tamal Krsna Goswami would immediately understand what he wanted.
And Prabhupada would say that the first class disciple knows what the Guru wants even without him speaking it.
Prabhupada would say that a first class disciple, he knows what the Guru wants even without the Guru speaking.
And one time I had the good fortune to be riding with Prabhupada and Tamal Krsna Goswami in the train.
One time I had the good fortune to be riding with Tamal Krsna Goswami and Srila Prabhupada in the train.
And to attend the Kumbh Mela.
To attend the Kumbh Mela.
So at that time, Prabhupada, because he was in the train, so he held prasad in both hands and was eating.
Because he was in the train, he had prasadam with his both the hands. With both the hands.
So he was sitting on the bed in the train, and
he was sitting on the bed on the train.
I think the other devotee was sitting on the ground.
And I think the other devotee was sitting on the ground.
Across the aisle.
Across the
aisle.
Aisle.
A first class train room, 4 berth.
The first class train room has
4 berth.
4 berth.
So Prabhupada was eating, and then Tamal Krsna said, well, in India they have all kinds of milk, buffalo milk, cow milk.
Prabhupada said to Tamal Krsna Maharaj.
No, Tamal Krsna Maharaj.
Oh, Tamal Krsna Maharaj told, well, in India they have all kinds of milk. Buffalo milk, cow milk.
Do they have dog milk? Prabhupada.
Do they have dog milk? And Prabhupada...
That's not milk!
Prabhupada said, that's not milk.
So then I wanted to grow some things in Mayapur.
And I wanted to grow some things in Mayapur.
But so I asked permission from Srila Prabhupada if I could do some agriculture.
I asked permission from Srila Prabhupada so that I can do some agriculture.
In my material life, my Purva Ashram uncle was an agriculturist.
In my material life, my Purva Ashram uncle, he was an agriculturist.
But Tamal Krsna said, oh, he's a city boy.
And
What do you know about agriculture?
And Tamal Krsna Maharaj said, oh, he's a silly boy, he doesn't know about agriculture.
But Prabhupada let me do some agriculture.
But Prabhupada let me do some agriculture.
And that way I grew some tomatoes and radish.
In that way, I grew some tomatoes and some radish.
So, Tamal Krsna Goswami he was very much, he wanted to please Prabhupada very much.
Tamal Krsna Goswami, he wanted to please Prabhupada very much.
And his standard was very high.
And his standard was very high.
I appreciate very much his commitment to Srila Prabhupada.
I appreciate him very much for his commitment to Srila Prabhupada.
And very kind to keep me by his side sometimes.
He was very kind to keep me by his side sometime.
And one of the dearest brothers I have.
He's one of the dearest brothers that I have.
And they told me that he had an accident, and I should go and see.
He told me that he had an accident in America, that Ranaghat, and I should go and see him.
I really went down to, but he had already left.
But I immediately went, but he had already left.
The doctor said that I don't see about him, he's already gone. I see the other people.
Prabhupada, the doctor told me that why you want to see him, he had already gone. You go and see the other people.
So I try to help the others see.
I try to help the others.
And but they wouldn't let Tamal Krsna Goswami go without doing a postmortem.
So they wouldn't let Tamal Krsna Goswami to go without doing a post-mortem.
We had no choice,
We had no choice,
so they did that.
so they did that.
Then the people blocked the road.
The people, they blocked the road.
They said he's a saint.
They said he's a saint.
We want to have his darshan before he goes.
We want to have his darshan before he goes.
And he wouldn't leave.
And he won't
They
leave.
sat down on the road.
And they sat down on the road.
And then they gave them a darshan of Krsna Goswami
Then
Babu.
we gave them a darshan of Tamal Krsna Goswami's Vapu.
And they paid obeisances and let him go.
And they paid obeisances and let him go.
In 1989, I was attacked in Madrid.
In 1989, I was attacked in Madrid.
At that time, I was in the hospital,
At that time, I was in the hospital.
and Tamal Krsna Goswami came to see me.
And Tamal Krsna Goswami, he came to see me.
I think it was Srila Maharaj.
I think he came with Sivaram Maharaj.
And at that time, because when they operated on me, they took all my Brahmin thread.
Of course, at that time when they operated me, they took off my Brahmin thread.
And then I said, I don't have a Brahmin thread.
Then I said to him, I don't have a Brahmin thread.
So then Tamal Krsna Goswami, he turned on one and gave me.
And then Tamal Krsna Goswami, he chanted on one and he gave me.
So I'm also wearing few people have a Brahmin thread from Tamal Krsna Goswami.
Very few people have the Brahmin thread given by His Holiness Tamal Krsna Goswami.
So, what time now? Any question?
Any questions?
Yes, so we have a couple of people that have asked very similar questions about describing your most beautiful, heartfelt moment that you shared with Tamal Krsna Goswami.
I always just like this kind of question. So what is it? I get like a whole bunch of memories to have.
Always people ask me this kind of question. It's like a whole bunch of memories that I have.
You know, I went to see him in Hong Kong.
I went to see him in Hong Kong.
And he had just made a book,
He had just made a book,
kind of prose book.
a kind of a prose book.
So he was sharing that with me. And
So he was sharing that with me.
but one very sweet time was we came back from Mayapur after buying the land. Then
One sweet time was when he came back from Mayapur after buying the land.
and he was just so happy that he had done what Prabhupada requested him.
So he was so happy that he has done what Prabhupada had requested him.
And that way he was very expert.
In that way, he was very expert.
Sometimes he would have us all discussing Lord Chaitanya's or Krishna's pastime.
Sometime he had all of us discussing Lord Chaitanya's or Lord Krishna's pastimes
And then chanting Hare Krishna.
and then chanting Hare Krishna.
He had the hats made in China.
He had given us the hats made in China.
That was all the devotees on Parikrama.
What's that?
That was worn by all the devotees on Parikrama.
That was worn by all the devotees in the parikrama.
Someone had a vision that he was taken back by Srila Prabhupada.
Someone had a vision that he was taken back by Srila Prabhupada.
A very intelligent person.
He's a very intelligent person.
One more question.
Another question?
So yes, we have a question. If you can share one of the qualities of Tamal Krsna Goswami that made him so dear to Srila Prabhupada, and how can we aspire to obtain such qualities?
Well, he was very dedicated to pleasing his spiritual master.
He was very dedicated for pleasing his spiritual master.
And although Prabhupada would sometimes set a very high standard for him,
Although Srila Prabhupada would sometimes set very high standards for him,
he was always surrendered
he was always surrendered
to carry out his order.
to carry out his order.
And I know that's maybe the most endearing quality of him.
I know that is one of the most endearing quality of him.
Because he had so many qualities.
Of course, there were so many qualities.
His vision for preaching,
His vision for preaching,
his idea of making a community
his idea of making a community
in Dallas.
in Dallas.
I had many different ideas.
He had many different ideas.
And his vision was very, very deep.
And his vision was very deep.
But everything he was doing to please the Prabhupada.
But everything he was doing to please Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to Tamal Krsna Goswami.
All glories to Tamal Krsna Goswami.
Do you like our ad-free videos? Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every day, and don't forget to like and share our channel.